You see, a narcissist isn't going to be able to love you. They're not going to be able to have joy. They're not going to be able to have happiness because they're looking for that stuff a lot of times to fill the void, to fill and satisfy them, but they're not going to satisfy them. So why can't a narcissist be faithful? Did you ever seem to notice that? It seems like a lot of information out there about narcissists cheating. It's because a lot of times you see narcissists with ego, with entitlement, that end up cheating on their spouses or in their relationships or on their partner, whatever it might be. Did that happen to you? Did you fall in love with someone that you were with for a period of time and then you notice there's been cycles? There's been constant cheating. There's been cheating over a period of years and years. Or maybe you just found out about something and you're scratching your head. You're wondering, wait, what might be going on? A lot of times you have a narcissist that cheats. And it's not all the time. And it's not all across the board 100% of the time that they cheat. But there's a lot of times people think that they're not cheating when they actually are. So I'd be really careful of that. But oftentimes people wonder, like, why can't they actually be faithful? Like, why can't they be nice? Like, why can't they actually show up in the relationship? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this platform to provide awareness, growth, healing, and change. And we're on here to try to help people just wake up and understand what narcissism is. A lot of times people don't see or understand what it actually is. They might understand an idea or a concept of it, of the ego, or of, someone that's just snapping selfies. But when it comes down to it, like, what is narcissism? How does it actually happen? What actually develops in it? How does it actually look in a relationship? That's what we're here for, to try to help people understand a lot of times what it looks like. If you don't know what narcissism is, and if you don't know the 9 narcissistic traits needed to know if someone's a narcissist or not, then download our NARC app. Just type in NARC. It stands for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. It's a community of like-minded people that you can go in there and you can ask advice. You can get support. You can take courses. You can learn about narcissism so you can start to see it and understand it more for what it really is versus maybe what you might think or what you might have learned or what you might have seen before. A lot of times people get confused with an overt narcissist going to a covert narcissist and wondering, wait, what's the difference? Like, what's that look like? We want to try to be able to provide the awareness, the clarity, so that you can actually grow, heal, and change and know what you're looking for and be safe in that regard. So I work with people on a day-to-day basis, trying to help them get out of toxic relationships and try to help them rewire their mind to be able to change the concept of, hey, I'm stuck with this person. And to keep going back a lot of times because of a trauma bond, because of that addictive cycle, addictive nature. We try to work with people to help get them out and try to help get them to set good boundaries moving forward. Good habits, good triggers, so they can grow, heal, change, and develop. We'd love to have you join on the NARC app. If you're following on any other social media platforms, or if you want to see just some of the small clips, go ahead and check it out. We've got YouTube, obviously, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Also, we're on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you're on any of those, like, rate, review, just be a part of the community. Share some of this episode to somebody who might be in the same situation. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe they just found out about something. You never know. You could be someone that could help someone else see the hope and see the light at the end of the tunnel from the crazy making that's been put on them. So a lot of times you have narcissists that end up not being faithful. That they end up cheating, not necessarily like having an open relationship, but they end up going to a place where, hey, I'm committed to you, and then they disappear. I'm committed to you, and then you find out they've been cheating. A lot of times you get into a relationship, and what you're looking for is, a loving relationship. You're looking for both people to work together, for it to be a partnership, for it to be something that is mutually helping, mutually beneficial, mutually growing and helping each other as you continue on in life. You're looking for that connection, for that committedness. A lot of times you're looking for someone who's dedicated to you and you're dedicated to them. And that's what it appears at first. A lot of times it appears that way with a narcissist. You get involved and it's like, wow, this is so great. We're so connected. It's so wonderful. And a lot of times that beginning section of the love bombing where everything is pumped up and made it seem amazing. And that typically is what locks people into the idea of like, this is who this person is. And they want to stay with them, to be with them. The obsessive nature that happens early on in the relationship just appears like love, or it appears like infatuation, or it appears like, wow, we're so connected. And that develops over time that traps you, that keeps you stuck. But then you start noticing things. Maybe you start noticing they seem to be hiding something. They're not opening up as much anymore. They seem to be pulling away. They seem to be distant. Maybe they're hiding their phone, or you're seeing quick runs into other rooms to be able to answer phone calls or be able to text somebody. All of a sudden, late nights, not sure when they're coming home, unaccounted for hours, disappearing. And when you bring it up, when you try to talk about it and you bring up your concerns, it's met oftentimes with rage. Getting really upset and really mad of like, how dare you question me? Don't you understand what I'm doing? I provide for you. I show up. I take care of the kids. I do X, Y, and Z, all these different things. Met with that rage, oftentimes the rage is just to distract you so that you don't focus on the actual problem. Maybe you brought it up and they started minimizing. They started beating you down of like, you're overthinking this. Like, you're acting crazy. A lot of times they'll make you feel like you're acting crazy through gaslighting. That didn't happen. I went to the store. Yeah, but you're gone to the store for 8 hours. I went to the store. What are you talking about? I wasn't gone that long. Doing different things to make you feel crazy. And the narcissist will build that upon lies and upon lies and upon lies. It might be overt lies of like, no, I didn't do that, when you know that they did that. Or it might be the lies of omission of like, hey, I went to the store and they didn't tell you that they also met up with another person. It could be the gaslighting when you find something that's incriminating evidence of like, that's someone else's. That doesn't exist. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Or it could be the love bombing of, hey, like, I'm going to spend more time with you. Or all of a sudden they up their niceness, what they're bringing, what they're doing, how they're acting. Sometimes that can even be a sign of something else that's going on. So a lot of people ask, and a lot of people wonder of like, why would they cheat? Like, why would they not be faithful? Like, I'm literally here giving them all the love that they could ask for. I'm giving them money. I'm giving them a place to live. I'm giving them sex. I'm giving them a relationship. I'm giving them literally everything that they want. And I'm treating them so good and amazing, but like, why would they still do this? Why? And a lot of times it comes back to the idea and the logic behind that question. Because a lot of times people ask like, why when I'm giving them everything, when it doesn't come down to just what you're giving. It doesn't come down to what you're putting yourself out there available to the narcissist. And we're going to walk through a couple things that they're addicted to that happens. And a lot of times people come and they ask, why would they do this? Why would they hurt this? Why would they hurt me? Because I'm a good person. I provide all this for them. I do all this for them. Why would they do this to a good person? And what you have to remember is that question doesn't compute exactly with the narcissist because they're not looking at another person as being good or bad. They're not looking at another person as being this person has good qualities and this person has bad qualities. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about how they switch it in their mind because they do switch it in their mind. But what I'm saying is like when they walk in, they're not looking at like, wow, this person has innate goodness that I'm going to cherish and love and respect. They don't do that. They walk into the room and they're like, hey, this person can help me out in this way. This person can serve me in this way. This person can do this for me. Like, you can clean my house. Like, you can provide for me. Like, you can let me live in your life. And different things like that is more the perspective. So a lot of times I liken it to the idea of an appliance. Is a lot of times a narcissist will view you as being an appliance, something that's in their life to be able to serve a purpose. And when they get upset, when they get mad, it's when that appliance refuses to work. And when that appliance refuses to do exactly what the narcissist wants them to do. And you see, a narcissist isn't going to be able to love you. They're not going to be able to have joy. They're not going to be able to have happiness because they're looking for that stuff a lot of times to fill the void, to fill and satisfy them, but they're not going to satisfy that. Because they're always searching for that, but they're unwilling to be honest with themselves and honest with you to actually be able to engage in a level that takes them out of the picture of love and lets them actually engage with another person, that brings in gratitude instead of ego and lets them involve themselves with joy and happiness. But as a result, they're addicted. Now, I normally call it slaves. And you think that you're a slave in the relationship, and a lot of times it feels like that, and the narcissist fashion it that way, but they're also a slave to their impulses and compulsions. And they're going to keep doing the same cycle over and over and over again. It's not going to change until they get real and honest with who they actually are. A lot of times when we talk about the cycles or addictions, you'll normally see narcissists come out of the woodwork of being, oh, they're addicted to porn or they're addicted to sex. It's like a typical one that like pops up. Like, oh, like mine's abusive, but it's just because he's a sex addict. Or, mine struggles with this, but no, she's just addicted to pornography. Like all these different types of things that pop up and you're like, okay, a lot of times being addicted to one of those things is a cop-out for being a narcissist. Not all the time, but sometimes it is. Sometimes you have people that are not just sex addicts, but they're actually narcissists, and they're saying, hey, this is what I need because of that entitlement. A lot of times you have narcissists that are addicted to the chase. And as a result of once they're with a person, they're not going to stay faithful because the chase is over. They got you. They captured you. You were locked into that relationship. So it's like, what's next? Let me go ahead and chase someone else. Let me go ahead and woo someone else. Let me go ahead and try to find someone and manipulate them and get them to the place where they're in love with me. Then I'll go to that person. Like, it's the chase. And a lot of times you see narcissists that are addicted to that, and then they get the person and they're like, oh, well, this person, yeah, they don't fit my facade anymore. I already know everything about them. Let me go to the next person. Ultimately, what you have with a narcissist is being addicted to the mask. And the mask of what they want to be perceived at. When you start seeing, like, wait a second, like your words and your character aren't matching up. Like something's not actually matching up here. Like what's going on? A lot of times that's when you start to see the narcissist be like, okay, I'm going to check out. I'm going to go to someone else who will believe the mask. You see, a narcissist is addicted to their own desires, which at the end of the day means it has nothing to do with you. It doesn't. A lot of times people struggle with that idea and they're like, well, wait, but I did this, but I did this, but I did this. It doesn't matter. What's happening is the narcissist is addicted to their own mask, to their own facade that they're putting out there. And until they're willing to be real, to be raw, to be honest, to be vulnerable with who they actually are, they're never going to be able to engage in love. They're never going to be able to find joy. They're never going to be able to find true happiness or gratitude or anything like that because they're not able to engage with something that is not built on a bed of lies. Until they get true with who they are, they're going to keep being unfaithful. Whether that's in a relationship, out of a relationship, however that looks, like they're going to keep being unfaithful to every single person in their life by putting everything else above that other person. Not being willing to honor or respect another person. That's why a lot of times they keep cheating.